Hallo Leute, wir gucken uns heute an 5 Cozy Games so You Can Be Evil. Das klingt sehr spannend. Und zwar ist das von Kaganaf, habe ich wohl schon abonniert, kenne ich anscheinend. Keine Ahnung, ob wir schon mal ein React drauf gemacht haben oder nicht, auf die Person. Wir gucken einfach mal rein. Das Originalvideo findet ihr wie immer in der Beschreibung. Abfahrt.
We're no strangers to the classic appeal of a typical cozy game, with their
Ja,
sunlit meadows, pristine towns, and
das ist schon
sickly
schön.
sweet romance. But personally, if you've been watching the channel, you'll know that I'm a much bigger fan of dark cozy, where
Ja, Cozy
ancient
ist crazy.
creatures and dark beings lurk in the shadows, suspicious cults perform dark rituals underneath your neighbor's floorboards, and greedy forces move into town.
Boah, kennt ihr Lakeview Valley? Ich habe darüber mal ein Video gemacht vor Ewigkeiten. Das ist ein abgefucktes Game. Das startet ein bisschen wie so ein Cozy Game, aber alles ist einfach nur furchtbar und gruselig. Fühlt sich an wie ein alter Horrorfilm fast. Nur nicht in lächerlich.
Looking to exploit its innocent residents. In most games, you'll be the one to save the day, either through
Ja,
the
echte Leben, ne?
connections, friendships, and relationships you build, or in certain cases, by growing various vegetables. But what happens when, in this same setting, you're not the hero who's come to save the town? What if this time, you're the monster hiding in plain sight?
Sagte Idee.
Today, we're stepping away from being the town's savior. If you're looking to resurrect the dead, acquire unholy powers, or just get filthy rich, then these games might be for you. So without further ado, here are 5 cozy games I recommend where you have the choice to be the
Das ist
villain.
einfach ein richtig schönes Spiel. Da bin ich gespannt drüber. Also, wir haben schon Graveyard Keeper gesehen, das kenne ich schon, das ist ziemlich cool. Und auch da kann man ja theoretisch ein bisschen Arschloch sein, ne? So das Fleisch der Toten verkaufen, Zombies auch verstehen lassen, all der Spaß, aber gespannt, was er noch so zu erzählen hat, ne? Diese verfickten M&M's Werbung werden immer schlimmer und schlimmer. Gut, dass wir die skippen können.
Starting with the first game on the list, Cabernet. Cabernet is a narrative RPG wrapped in a gorgeous atmospheric blanket
den Vibe.
of what I can only describe as 19th century Gothic charm. In this game, you'll play as Lisa, a young woman who seemingly died yet awoke once more in the basement of an affluent manor. She then discovers that she is now different from what she once was and is now forced to reckon with her new unlife as a creature of the night. Lisa will have to learn how to navigate her new life as a vampire, from the subtleties of vampire high society politics to the grief of losing her mortal life, and of course, learning how to utilize her newly acquired vampiric powers. Initially, it plays out like any conventional vampire awakening story, a familiar tale of elegance and potentially romance that is completely shattered the second the hunger sets in. She discovers that the thirst of a vampire is unlike any a human has ever experienced, and it drags Lisa away from a vampire fantasy to
Man kann sich in ein kleines Fledermäuschen verwandeln.
a
Schon
moral
10 out of 10.
crisis, where every choice she makes highlights the terrifying reality of what she needs to do to survive. Will she hold on to whatever's left of her humanity, if there's even any? Or will you let her succumb to the darkness and discover the depths of the monster she's now become? Cabernet is one of those games where you'll have to experience it to really understand how good it is. While it might look like a visual novel, it's actually an RPG through and through, with skills to level up, abilities to use, and a chock full of choices, big and small, that have a sort of butterfly effect that can either benefit or bite you later down the line. How you talk to people, whether you're kind or cruel to both vampires and humans alike, will be remembered by those around you, even down to the small, seemingly insignificant actions that you take. And at the core of the narrative experience is the game's morality system. Certain choices Lisa makes as to either her humanity or nihilism, which will dictate how she copes with being an eternally living creature that needs to occasionally feed on humans. Will she be kind and protective, only taking what she needs and fighting against her transforming mind? Or will she be a danger to those she once loved? It's a game driven by desire, where everything from how you execute your hunts to who you choose to build relationships with carries heavy consequences. Gameplay-wise, as a vampire, you'll get access to a variety of powerful abilities to help you navigate Lisa's new life. You can shift into a bat and gain access to hidden areas. You can turn invisible for stealth or
Klingt schon
eavesdropping and
spannend.
learn about people's hidden secrets. If you play your cards right and befriend a human, you can even use enchantment on them, which will put them in a
Oh.
trance, allowing you to change their subconscious for better or worse. Or
Drink less, start stealing. Drink even more. Ist ja lustig.
simply feed on them without being noticed. But again, these abilities are just tools. It's up to you how Lisa's story will unfold. Cabernet grants you enough freedom to feel like you're in control of the story, especially when it comes to manipulating or assisting the people around you.
Klingt sehr
Yet
cool.
it purposefully keeps you in the dark about how your actions today will determine your fate and of those who are around you. Seeing as we don't really get a lot of good vampire stories in this space, to me, Cabernet brings enough to the table to take up a spot in this list. It's got a unique presentation, an intriguing story, and lots of choices that actually have consequences. It's available on all major platforms, and I'd love to potentially cover it in the future, so let me know in the comments if that's something you'd be interested in. Before we move forward, I'd like to first thank today's sponsor, Instant Gaming.
Okay, danke Instant Gaming, dass du den Bruder unterstützt, ne? Kuss geht raus auf jeden Fall.
Currently on really good deals. First up is Dredge, which would honestly be perfect for this list video.
Das erste, also das fand ich ganz interessant tatsächlich, aber ich weiß nicht, ob es wirklich cozy Game ist. So, I don't know, weiß nicht. Kann man vielleicht so
But
bei der Definition
unfortunately, I
drehen.
still haven't played it yet, so today's
Aber wir sind noch beim Sponsor,
video.
okay.
Next up is for those of you with a serious penchant for gold, a
Oh,
healthy
ja,
dose of
Mann.
greed, and a relentless urge to steal everything that isn't nailed down.
Da habe ich direkt
I
Bock.
present Goblin Vike, the Thief
Goblin
Tycoon.
Vike machen sich Notizen, Frau Thales.
Very fun and addicting little title about a greedy goblin running a medieval shop. You play
Spaßig.
as Vike, and your father has recently passed away, leaving everything in his possession for you to inherit, including, but not limited to, a cursed mask, his
Oh.
old shop, and a mountain of debt which will now be your burden to
Toll.
carry. But the most important
Danke, Papa.
piece of inheritance you receive is a life lesson that literally took your father a lifetime to learn. Honest goblins cannot make it in this cruel world. He doesn't want you to repeat the same mistake he did by trying to be an honest merchant. His dying wish is for you to be greedy, because according to him, greed is good. And so, with that advice in mind, you take over his old shop, ironically called
spaßig aus.
Grabby's, determined to turn things around and
Grabbies ist ein so süßer Name für einen Goblin Shop. Das ist für Grabbies.
fulfill your father's dreams of being the wealthiest goblin in the land. And this time, no tactic
Maske
is
sieht
off
richtig
the
krass
table.
aus, ich liebe es.
The concept itself is what really intrigued me and made me want to try out this game. The idea of managing your own shop by day while at night
Oh.
sneaking into a dungeon to pickpocket gold and equipment from both monsters and naive adventurers
Das ist
just
ziemlich
sounded
cool.
like a really good time. And upon playing it, it was. The game itself is relatively simple in both storyline and gameplay. I even had gripes about the game's polish at certain points, but the reason why I feel like this deserves a spot here is because it captured me in a way similar to what I experienced in games like Stardew Valley. You know that feeling that you get from really good cozy games where you just want to play one more day? This game
Ja.
understood that and hooked me within minutes.
Das
But let me
glaube ich,
walk
das
you
sieht richtig
through a
spaßig
typical
aus.
session so you can get a sense of what it's like to actually play. The nightly dungeon raids are pretty straightforward. It has
Ich hoffe, die Musik, die im Hintergrund ist, auch in dem Spiel. Ist ein Banger.
aspects of platformers and Metroidvania without the combat system. Vike is pretty weak, which is why he has to rely on theft in the first place. So a lot of what you're doing is utilizing your stealth abilities to lure and manipulate enemies into optimal positions for you to pickpocket. But you gotta be careful,
That's ziemlich
because
cool.
when they get alerted, you really have no way of defending yourself aside from either running away or luring them onto traps, which is a completely viable and fun playstyle. As you continue your exploration, you'll start to fill out the map, discover hidden secrets, meet interesting characters with their own storylines and quests, as well as slowly but surely delve into the deeper parts of the dungeon, gaining access to more profitable treasures. And as you progress through the game, you'll unlock various abilities in the skill tree, giving you more ways to interact with the world and your enemies. From fart sprints to parachutes and grappling hooks, to even crazy movement and stealing abilities at later parts of the game. Now, since you
Embrace your greed stand da erstmal.
only have a
Voll geil.
limited amount of backpack space, when you fill it, that's your cue to finally head back to a goddess statue, which is this game's version of a bonfire, to end the dungeon delve and finally stock up. When the sun comes up, you open your shop for business.
Bro,
And
schläft
here
einfach
is
nicht.
when the real villainy begins. Your goal shifts from stealing items to haggling and essentially trying your best to aggressively rip off your customers for maximum profit. You play this dice roll minigame, and by using Vike's confident selling skills, combined with a sprinkle of greed and clever use of haggling skills, you can sell for more than double or triple of an item's actual value. Occasionally, you'll also get visitors in the shop, bringing their own quests, storylines, or orders, and the fun part is that you get to decide if you want to play nice or ruthlessly exploit them for maximum profit. Hire employees at the tiniest of salaries, franchise your shop to greedy businessmen, sponsor adventurers, and take more back. Do whatever you can to make as much gold as possible because every 4 days the debt
Es sieht so schön aus, das Spiel, auch wie es gezeichnet ist und so. Ich bin sehr intrigued, ehrlich gesagt.
collectors will
Das werde ich auf jeden Fall whitelisten.
start knocking. And if you can't pay them, it's your shop and your head on the noose. Again, the gameplay loop is simple, but it is satisfying. If you love shop management mixed with stealth exploration, masterfully combined
Ich
in an
schick das gleich
addicting
Thaler.
gameplay loop, and Goblin Vike the Thief Tycoon is available to play on Steam.
Ich baue gerade ein
Ach, geil. Ah, wie viel Werbung denn noch, Bruder? Wie viel denn noch? Was ist das, Digga? Ja, mehr Werbung als Video fast. Okay, genug Geld.
Sticking with the theme of unregulated capitalism, This County is a title that offers a very familiar gameplay to what we're already used to in the genre, so for most cozy gamers, this should be an easy entry point into cozy games with a darker undertone. Like most other cozy games, after creating your character, you'll
Fucking
move
wipe.
into the small town of Blomkest, where you're invited by your Aunt Teller to run her newly opened chain supermarket store called This County. And everything starts off well and good. Grace, a store clerk, walks you through how to run it, from opening and closing the shop to ordering deliveries, stacking items in shelves, and of course handling customer checkout. Outside of your
Das
new
war, glaub ich,
job,
nicht so
you'll
meins.
also meet the people in the community. You'll strike trade deals,
Weißt du, als Goblin in den Dungeon gehen, Leute beklauen und die Scheiße dann verkaufen für viel zu viel Geld, das fühlt sich gut an, aber ein Aldi zu leiten, das fühlt sich nicht so gut an.
your local produce and help with their problems whenever you can. But the more you play This County, the more the story starts to hint at the darker and shadier aspects of your Aunt Talar's business. On top of that, your rapid growth ruffles a few feathers, community problems start to arise, and massive conglomerates contaminate the local wildlife. Will you choose to ignore all of these issues to instead pursue your goals of endless expansion and record profits? Or will you side with the community and try to do what's best for the small town you now call your home? This county is incredibly fun. While it has a main story and side content, the main highlight here for me is running the store itself. The supermarket management is unexpectedly engaging to the point
Jetzt bin ich
where I
gespannt.
could literally just spend hours upon hours doing the exact same thing and I would have an absolute blast. So let me walk you through. How it works is that you're responsible for everything about running the store. You'll order deliveries, organize them into neat little rows in the storage area, and you'll place shelves and coolers, stacking them with various products for the customers to browse. You'll then open the shop, and both regulars and random visitors will arrive to do their daily shopping. But the unique thing is, during checkout, you'll get access to this cashier POV, where you can use the calculator to add up or multiply the cost of items based on quantity, which is a pretty easy thing to do. However, if you want to gain higher customer satisfaction, you have to process these items as quickly as possible to avoid holding the lineup.
Ergibt
So
Sinn.
what it feels like is a constant rush of quick mental maths, actual numpad input on the keyboard, which really makes it feel like you're actually doing an actual checkout, all while needing to pay attention to the quantity of items still available on the shelves for purchase. That game loop is designed so satisfyingly well that it enhances the rest of the game's features.
Kann ich mir schon
Since
vorstellen,
it's
dass
your
das
main
sehr viel
way of
Spaß
making
macht.
money when it comes to actually expanding and decorating the store, unlocking more products, striking trade deals, and optimizing your advertising, the progression ends up feeling so natural that it makes the game incredibly hard to put down. It's one of few cozy titles that actually succeeds in making you feel like you're managing a business,
Ah,
though
scheiße, nur noch einen Tag als Einzelhandelskaufmann arbeiten, ne? Das wäre geil.
in this case, you are unfortunately a cog in a very dubious machine, and your rapid expansion comes at a difficult cost. If you're interested in seeing how far the corruption and shady business practices in this game can get, or you just want to scale your business empire and make as much money as possible, this County is available for you to play on Steam and all consoles.
Bestimmt ganz nett.
This
Kann
next
man machen.
title is a standalone prequel to a very popular indie horror RPG released about 10 years ago called
Little Goody Two Shoes ist ja ein richtig süßer Titel.
Pocket Mirror, which is now considered a modern classic in the genre. As someone who used to spend my youth working on similar titles as a hobby, it
Yeah,
was a
geil.
nice surprise when one of you recommended this game to me, because not only is this a modern take on the RPG Maker horror genre, but at the same time, it boasts a 90s anime style which surprisingly complements its dark story. This
das ist
is Little
wunderschön.
Goody Two Shoes, a narrative horror RPG about a young girl named Elise. Elise is a vibrant, fiercely ambitious young woman trapped in a mundane life, driven by a singular consuming obsession. She wants to be filthy rich. In her own words, she wants to someday leave her humble village of Kieferberg and go somewhere far, far away. Away from fretting about money and away from going hungry. She wants to live the life she thinks she deserves. Unfortunately for Elise, she is but a humble village girl. After her adoptive grandmother passed away, she's left on her own and has since made her living by doing errands and menial tasks for the deeply religious and superstitious townsfolk, earning barely enough coins to secure her basic survival. But desperation leaves you open to temptation. Following
aber sehr
a
interessant aus, das
series
Spiel.
of strange occurrences, meeting a mysterious young girl hiding in her backyard and a violent windstorm blowing into the village yet skipping her home in the mountains, Elise discovers a pair of beautiful red shiny shoes buried in her garden, setting into place a pathway for her to achieve her grandest desires. To achieve her dreams, Elise has to keep a delicate balance. By day, she is your regular village girl, helping people, making friends, discovering romance. And when the moon rises, she is in the woodlands, exploring a mystical and phantasmagorical realm filled with dangerous entities, ancient
cool.
secrets, and knowledge about changing her reality. But she has to be
Das ist
careful,
sehr cool.
as whispers of a
die
sinister
Gedanken.
witch lurking in the woodlands have begun
So Realitätsverändern, da kann man so viel kreatives, geiles Zeug mitmachen als Narrative.
to spread like wildfire through the village. The locals are terrified, defensive, and looking for someone to blame. And if one of them connects the dots or witnesses her or her new friend engaging in the strange and supernatural, the village will turn on her, and her
Oh.
dreams will be over. Now, as
Hexen
I
werden
mentioned
verbrannt,
in
hab
the
ich
story
gehört.
setup, the game is split into day and night activities similar to the Persona games. But just to
Voll
be
cool.
more accurate, it is split into 6 different time frames throughout the day where different ways to spend your time will be available. And essentially, the challenge is in balancing your money making for your daily needs, your reputation or the village's suspicion of you, lest you become the centerpiece of a witch hunt, your story objectives, as well as your relationship with the 3 romanceable heroines. We'll get back to that in a bit. At night, you'll be able to explore
ist-
the woodlands, where again, darker entities and mysterious forces lurk in the shadows. And while you'll have certain things you'll need to pay attention to and lightly manage, like her health bar,
Oh,
an ever
Insanity, da stand Stay Sane, cool.
depleting hunger meter, and Elise's sanity, the gameplay itself is a lot
Bei Darkest Dungeon, bei der Reihe, fand ich es ganz cool, wie die das mit Insanity gemacht haben. Weil da war es so, dass bestimmte Faktoren, also Gegner oder wenn du kein Licht hast und so, dich langsam wahnsinnig machen. Und dann wird halt ein Würfel gerollt und da wird halt geguckt, okay, entweder du hast einen Breaking Point, bekommst eine, ne, da wirst du wahnsinnig, kriegst einen negativen Trade, oder du überkommst deine Angst und du bekommst einen positiven Trade. So, das ist eigentlich ganz cool. Also mit genug Gambling kann man da auch mit Insanity ziemlich viel erreichen. Das ist ganz schön cool.
Of dungeon crawling and puzzle solving on top of the actual narrative, which is the main appeal of the game. But in this nightly woodland exploration is also where the highlight of the story stems from. Here, you'll have the opportunity to make very selfish and dark choices for personal gain, whether that's for power, riches, or whatever else Elise's heart desires. But of course, these come with heavy consequences, both to the village and the people she cares about, which brings us right back to those three romanceable characters. Each of them have their own roots, storylines, good ends and bad ends depending on your choices, and in total, there are 10 available endings for you to experience.
Mega cool.
One of them leading you straight to the version of the universe that Pocket Mirror exists in. Since I know it'll be asked, no, you don't have to play Pocket Mirror or Little Goody Two Shoes to get the best experience
Ich glaube, ich würde aber gerne Pocket Mirror spielen, wenn das auch in so einer geilen Qualität ist wie das hier.
for either one. They're both designed as standalone games. If you want to try this one, it's available on all major platforms.
Ultra geil. Wie viel Werbung noch, Bruder? Wie viel? Ah, das klingt wirklich ziemlich gut. Das klingt wirklich ziemlich geil. Ich glaube, ich würde das gerne spielen. Leute, in letzter Zeit, ne, sind so viele Spiele überall, die ich so gerne zocken würde. Das ist crazy. Ich komme gar nicht hinterher. Nur geiler Scheiß, wirklich. Macht einen richtig happy. Ja. Vielleicht habt ihr ein ähnliches Problem gerade. Also nicht, dass gerade so viele neue Spiele rauskommen, obwohl sie es ja auch tun. Es ist vielmehr, dass ich momentan so viele neue Spiele entdecke. Was unter anderem wegen dem Kanal hier. Da haben wir auch letztes Mal Grimshire entdeckt. Ne? Das ist auch
Honorable
richtig schön.
mentions before we head to the final game of the list, we've
Boah, jetzt bin
got
ich
both
gespannt.
Strange Horticulture and its sequel, Strange Antiquities. In Strange Horticulture, you'll play as a proprietor of a local plant store, where visitors will come to your shop
es
with
ist so cool,
specific
in einem Plant Store
requests
zu arbeiten.
ranging from mundane everyday remedies to plants with more mystical and occultic properties. You quickly get dragged into a complex web of intersecting storylines involving opposing factions, all wrapped under a detective story with themes of the occult, witchcraft, and various dark mysteries. The fun thing is, you can actually influence the story by purposefully giving your customers the wrong items, like giving poisons instead of remedies, thereby affecting the direction of the story. The sequel, Strange Antiquities, from my understanding, is a similar style of game, but there is a tad bit of difference in gameplay, as here, you are analyzing various occultic artifacts and not just identifying plants. The same sort of mystery is present though, and your decisions will affect the fate of the whole town of Undermere.
Ist, glaube ich, nicht so ganz meins, wenn ich mir das so ansehe, aber ist eine coole Idee auf jeden Fall. Ein cooles
I'm still
Prinzip.
looking to play these at some point, so we'll keep this short. Let's hop onto the final game on this list, Graveyard Keeper.
Ah, ist
When
so ein
most people
gutes
say
Spiel. Graveyard
dark
Keeper ist so ein geiles
cozy,
Game.
this is pretty much the game that comes to my mind. I've spent over 100 hours doing
das
a
Game.
100% completion run of this game, and it's one of those titles that I see myself coming back to years down the line just to experience it all over again. But for those of you who haven't played it or are on the fence about trying it out, here's a quick rundown of what Graveyard Keeper is all about. While on your way home on a dark and rainy night, you unfortunately meet an unexpected end. However, instead of just dying, you are given a second chance to return to the love of your life. The catch is that you'd have to work as a graveyard keeper in a dark medieval world, with only an amnesiac talking skullhead to guide you. And that's the setup. It's really straightforward because the game allows you to discover its world and the stories within at your own pace. But while the story might be simple to start, it's anything but that once you progress through the game. At some point, you will get introduced to a talking communist donkey who will be responsible for bringing you bodies. And from here on out, it's up to you how you'll manage your graveyard. From embalming bodies and decorating your grounds, to desecrating the dead, managing a church, and making blood money off of active witch trials, you'll participate in a vast array of ethically questionable activities and make morally ambiguous choices just to find a way back home. Later on, as you expand your church, gain more followers, make connections with dark cults, or conduct strange experiments underground, you can even raise the dead to do your manual labor for you. Build a settlement, run an inn, and help lost souls pass through to the afterlife. There is an overwhelming amount of content to do here, on top of one of the most memorable, if not a little bit confusing stories in the genre. If you're looking for a systems-heavy crafting game that you can easily sink hundreds of hours into, I urge you to give Graveyard Keeper a try, especially as its sequel, Graveyard Keeper 2, has recently been announced and is set to release later this year. If you want a non-spoilery, detailed review of everything this game has to offer so you can decide if it's really worth your time, please check out my 100% completion review of the game by clicking the link in the top right corner of the video. A big shout out to Villain in Glasses, a member of our Paladin Regalia tier. Thank you for your support, and thank you as well to all of our regular patrons and YouTube members.
War ein sehr schönes Video. Es ist wie immer in der Beschreibung verlinkt, also zeigt ein bisschen lieber gerne, Leute. Ich fand das super cool, ich fand das super interessant. Und ja, es gibt so viele geile Games, die man ausprobieren kann. Das Goblin-Spiel schicke ich sofort Thaler, glaube ich. Die freut sich bestimmt. Wer weiß, vielleicht könnt ihr das bei ihr sehen, vielleicht auch nicht. So, ich finde es auch cool, aber ich weiß nicht, ob ich es jetzt für mich spielen würde oder veröffentlicht. Ich weiß noch nicht. Aber ja, vielen Dank fürs Zugucken. Wir sehen uns in einem anderen Video wieder. Haut rein, Leute, ne? Ciao, ciao.